Roblox horror has come a long way since the release of the site 20 years ago. Damn, has it really been that long? We've been getting fully fledged experiences like Doors being released on a daily basis. But there are some games that just don't have that same quality. And these games aren't even dead or have low players. No, these games have an active player base. But why are these games so low quality? And are they really as bad as I'm making them out to be? Well, the answer to that first question is to make easy money. And I'll show you why I think that in just a minute. But to answer that second question, I decided to play a couple horror games that have active players to see if they deserve them or not. Hint, they don't. But with that, let's just get into this. The first game I'll be checking out is Midnight Diner. And oh boy, do I have a couple things to say about this quote-unquote game. But let me just tell you what you'll be doing the entire time. You first have to pick how many players you'll be playing with, and surprise, surprise, there's a million things you can click on that'll give you a pop-up. These pop-ups show items that you can buy for actual money. And I'm all about making that cash, but these items are so unnecessary. Like, this game is so easy I was surprised. But when you finally get into the actual game, the nightmare begins. And I'm talking about everything but the horror. You spend the entire game inside of a small diner, and that diner gets old really fast. The gameplay loop consists of you giving food to customers,
picking up trash, and mopping.
Oh, my bad. But you can quickly tell that doing mindless stuff a normal person does at their actual job gets old quickly. So why would the dev think it's a good idea to drag this out for like 20 minutes? Genuinely, I had more fun walking around the building than I did doing anything this game asked of me. And I'm pretty sure that's not what the dev intended. But moving on from that, what was the actual horror element from this game? And oh boy, let me tell you, you spend 20 minutes picking up trash and mopping the floors for a 2-minute scare. Yup. It lasts 2 minutes. You get a phone call from Big Time Food Supplies, and they say a delivery truck will deliver some more food. But oh no! A spooky man jumps out of the trunk and chases you. After you run to the diner, you're given 2 choices: run or hide. Of course, I chose to run. But after you make it to the objective, the game just ends. And I didn't give enough of a shit to get the other endings. So let's just talk about this game in more detail. This experience tries to do what games like Night Shift does and fails horribly at it. Instead of the game setting up its main villain through spooky hints, the game just throws him in near the end. So instead of being scared, I'm just disappointed. And holy cow, half of the things you click on in this game don't do anything. Or they do give you a pop-up to buy some random item, but that doesn't count. And if I wasn't playing with a friend, I honestly believe I would have just tabbed out. Anyways, what did I like about this game? Well, for one, the game has some pretty decent potential. These short horror games are actually pretty fun when the tasks are fun. And if the horror is actually rewarding, then the game is already 20 times better. Or if you want to make the game dog shit, at least make it short dog shit. But yeah, I know, these devs just want to suck the profits out of premium players. So how about we just move on from this stinky game? The next game I'll be playing is Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese, and this game isn't total dog shit like the last one. It has problems that we'll get into, but the game has a lot more potential. The game opens with the player driving towards a Chuck E. Cheese location. They step out of their car and enter the place. This is where the game starts. Throughout the night, more and more animatronics will try and kill you. I'm not sure if they differ from one another, but some seem faster than others. But you'll be asked to complete a lot of tasks. These tasks are mostly just finding keys and their corresponding doors. But whenever an animatronic finds you, you'll have to run to the office and hide. There are a lot of issues with this office, but I'll get into those issues later. My first gripe with this game is the things you have to do. Finding keys gets really boring after a while, and the animatronics aren't very hard to outrun. So I never felt like I was in danger or close to dying in literally any way. But I'll get into ways on how to fix this game in just a minute, because there's something I really need to talk about, and that something is the ending.
Oh, he's got the keys.
Oh, we found him!
What?
Get to it and get out of here!
Is he like beating his dick?
I was like, out of it! I find it! It broke my leg!
Did I ever tell you what the definition of insanity?
When you complete all tasks, you will enter a spooky room where a guy charges at you. This man is apparently an Olympic sprinter because he outruns a player by a mile. Because my friend and I tried to beat this shit for 30 minutes. But the damn rat man was puppy guarding the last key we needed. Then I decided to use my 1000 IQ gamer strats and open the door, trapping it. So then we waltzed on out of there. Tee-hee. But I think you can see the huge issue with all of this. I hope. There should be zero reason we had to cheese the final enemy. But there was no other way. And I do really like the idea for a final chase sequence. It adds a lot of tension, but all that tension is immediately lost when you die 2 seconds later. But how could these issues be fixed? First of all, we need more variety in the animatronic programming. If there was any, I couldn't tell. There's actually a vent section of this game that has no threats inside. So maybe add something inside? Next thing I want to talk about is the office. This thing is a bloody mess. Sometimes when you shut the door in one of the animatronics' faces, it just starts tweaking. And lastly, the ending. The only thing that really needs to be changed is the spooky man's movement speed. And that's about it. This game is still in beta, so we'll have to see if it improves in the long run. But I have high hopes. But with that, let's just move on to the final game. And the last game I'll be playing is Dandy's World. Reviewing this game is a little weird because it's not a bad game by any means. The game is most definitely the funnest on the list by a mile. But at the end of the day, it's just not scary. But what is this game about? Well, this game takes obvious inspiration from the mascot horror trend we've been seeing a lot of in the past decade. But it mostly takes inspiration from things like Poppy Playtime. This game is an endless floor generator where you have to get as far as you can. The game requires you to select a character and group up. I joined a game with 2 other people. The game has a pretty simple gameplay loop. Each floor has a certain number of machines you have to fix, and these machines will increase in number as you go higher. There will be a couple monsters roaming around. You'll have to evade these goofballs by turning a corner. Yep, they are really dumb. Some of these monsters will do super cool things like give you annoying pop-ups, stretch their arm out super far, and turn into an unavoidable dog that has the range of 7 football fields. But they kind of just blend together. They aren't unique enough in my opinion. They're also way too easy to avoid and it kind of makes the game boring. But after all my teammates died, the gameplay got even more boring. Everything is just super slow. Completing a floor doesn't feel rewarding, especially since the game doesn't have very many different layouts for the floors. So when I made it to floor 10, I just gave up. I just couldn't be bothered getting any higher. And since the player is forced to fix even more machines on later levels, things just got even slower if you're playing alone. And I would talk about the other playable characters if they weren't so expensive. After playing the game for 30 minutes, I had nowhere near enough to buy any of the other characters. So the grinding also seems obnoxious. And to top it all off, I was never really scared. The game is too cartoonish to be scary. But if you don't go into this game wanting to be absolutely terrified, you'll probably enjoy yourself if you play with friends. I could see myself returning to this game in the future since it was actually pretty entertaining when I had a team. But with that, let's just move on. Roblox horror games are super hard to make scary, but I do appreciate when games at least put in effort. Unlike other games. So hopefully we'll start seeing even more games with effort, and not just dogshit games like Midnight Diner.